Hey, what's going on, guys? A lot of bullets here with the ARK Reddit Podcast, episode 2. I did one earlier this week, and I got some pretty good feedback on it, and so it seems like you guys are enjoying it. So, I decided to go ahead and make a second one here. I don't know how frequently I want to make them, but this one's going to be a little bit more specific, not just talk about kind of the big details of the game. So, without further ado, let's just get into it. I won't even lie. I haven't really planned this episode at all. That's just kind of how I do things. It's how I get the creative juices flowing. Is I just kind of go and just start talking, and after a while, things just kind of click together and things start to make sense. So, I remember back to the thread. I guess I should probably just look at it and see what was said exactly on the suggestions for the Reddit the ARK podcast. But one of the things people wanted to hear about is that just early game stuff and kind of how to get started with stuff like that. And so let's get into that. Let's see. I'm pulling up the thread right now. Pretty bad, pretty bad planning right here. Anyway, okay. Alright, so I get the gist. I just kind of read it over again, but the gist is that they want more specific, or the people in the thread, they wanted specifics. So one thing in particular is taming in the game. There's a lot of misconceptions about taming. There's a lot of just people thinking they know what the best method is, and there's really not a whole lot to taming. Okay, it's not as complicated as you guys think it is. And when you go in the ARK Gamepedia, whatever, there's all these methods. And okay, so this is pretty much. I'm just going to talk about taming. What my tribe and I have figured out with taming. What is the deal with it? So, the first thing you need to know what food, because I changed it recently. What food the dino you're taming likes the most. So, it sounds really simple. Just get a bunch of narcotics. Make some tranq arrows, knock the dino out, put some drugs on it, give it some food that it likes, use the narcotics when its torpor starts falling to a low amount. Use more narcotics, remote use it to fill up the torpor once again, and then have it eat some more food. Yada 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 yada, rinse and repeat forever and ever. So when it comes to herbivores, or I don't really know if I'd call them herbivores, the dinos that don't eat meat. So your stegosauruses, your triceratops, your brontosauruses, stuff like that. They don't eat meat. They eat berries. And most of the time, I think most of them, don't quote me on it, I'm pretty sure almost every single dino that eats berries, Majo berries are their favorite. There's a couple that I think triceratops like Tinto berries the most. There's just go to the ARK Gamepedia, go to taming on the wiki, and you can find out the table. There's a table with all sorts of stuff. By the way, the ARK Wikipedia, or the ARK Gamepedia, is the number one source of information. Okay, it's easy to navigate. There's lots of stuff there, and if you don't know something, and remember this game is really, really new, so there's a lot of stuff that people don't even know about yet. So when you're wondering, can I do this? Does this work? Is this the most efficient way? Do I need to do this to get this? And you can't find an answer on the wiki, just try it. Just try it. Who cares, right? Just YOLO, try it. If it works the way you think it does, post about it on Reddit, post about it somewhere, and get that information out there so that people can add it to the wiki, or add it to the wiki yourself. It's a little tricky to get information edited into the wiki, because it's you got to add in a whole bunch of formatting stuff. But bottom line is that if you find information about the game that no one else knows about, just let people know in some capacity, so that we can continue to build the database of information and all that good stuff. So when it comes to taming a carnivore, so a T-Rex, Pteranodon, a saber-tooth, what I would recommend doing is get a bunch of narcotics pre-made. I would make probably 100 to 200, depending on the taming speed on the server. If you're playing unofficial, it's going to be a long time. So you're going to need a lot of narcotics, and you're going to need a lot of time. You're going to need a lot of protection. So if you're playing solo, you can probably have the time and the narcotics ready to go, but you may not have the protection. So you need to get a big tame. What I mean by a big tame is I mean you need to get like a Carno or something that can protect you really well. Okay, there's something that you can feel good about just leaving there right next to you on neutral, and that can protect you against pretty much whatever, or attack your target, or whatever setting you want it on. A dino that you feel pretty confident can protect you without you having to ride it. So. I tamed a Carno that I baited to our base. Our base was like a tower kind of thing at the time, and the Carno came in and I knocked it out with tranq arrows. And when it was on the ground, I was able to tame it really right there, no problem. So just do something like that. Get yourself in some capacity a protective dinosaur like a Carno, or maybe even a Sabertooth. So when you have that, that's when you can go for more big tames, for your Tyrannosauruses, your Brontosauruses, the big dinos that people really like, and there's a lot of utility with them. Excuse me. So get something like a Carno to get you started. And Carnos are actually extremely good. Okay, so Carnos, I would say if you can't get a T-Rex, if there's not enough time in the day or whatever the problem is, get yourself a Carno. Carno takes on, I think, normal time, it's like 2 to 3, or it's like an hour and a half to 2 hours, I want to say, for a Carno. T-Rex is like 4 hours, but a Carno below level 30 will take probably between an hour and a half to 2 hours to tame. That's something else you have to think about, is dinos below level 30 take the base amount of time to tame. There's not a whole lot to it. It's really easy. And it's like for most things below level 30, it's I think the slowest dino to tame below level 30 is a T-Rex, or either that or a plesiosaur, but there's not a whole lot of plesiosaurs that are being tamed anyway. But by the way, that clicking noise, I need to stop doing that. I think a T-Rex below level 30 takes like 3 to 4 hours on. It's like an hour and a half to 4 hours on base time, depending on your strategy. And above level 30, it just takes a lot more time. So, just have everything. Also, like, things above level 30 have a crap load of torpor. So just get all your stuff ready to go, and make sure that you're amply equipped. So I would recommend getting a ton of narcotics ready to go. Make 100, make 200, just make so much. By the way, narcotics give a ton of experience. So just make a lot of narcotics, get yourself a lot of levels, and just get a ton of narcotics ready to go. So when you have all the narcotics in the world that you could ever want, maybe 500 plus, that's when you can go after a T-Rex without really any worry. If you have a Carno that's, somewhat well leveled, a Carno that can pretty much kill a T-Rex if they're not leveled 600. If you can have a Carno like that can kill everything, that's pretty much like an ultimate predator. What I would recommend doing is knocking out a T-Rex. If this is not necessarily a T-Rex, but a carnivore, knocking out the carnivore, and when it's out cold, you take your Carno and you just leave the narcotics on the thing you're taming, and you take your Carno and you go just hunting for prime meat. The thing with prime meat and dinosaurs, okay, this is important, is prime meat in your inventory takes no time at all to spoil. On a dino, it takes, I don't know what the base time is. I don't know if my server, the private server I play on, has the spoil timer modified, but whenever I put it on a dinosaur, it takes 9 minutes to spoil. I don't know, like I said, I don't know if that's actually modified or not, but if I put it on my Carno whenever I'm hunting, it takes 9 minutes for one piece of spoiled meat, or of prime meat to spoil. So keep that in mind whenever you are going after prime meat, is that you have a lot of time to amply go get the prime meat and deliver it to the location that you need to deliver it to. So whenever you start getting the prime meat, give it narcotics, give it the prime meat, and obviously use the prime meat that has the lowest timer and put it in there first. The order that you put the prime meat in, you can also reorder it in their inventory screen. The order that it's in is the order that it'll eat it. There's also something else you really need to know when you're doing this, is I would recommend keeping a stack of emergency meat, just normal meat, raw meat, behind the prime meat, because if there is no meat present on the dino whenever you're taming it, it starts losing its taming so fast. So if it eats the last piece of meat, the taming just goes bam, 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 bam. It just the bar just gets nullified pretty much, and all your hard work up to that point will have been lost. So At first, it doesn't matter. If the taming is at 0, it doesn't matter. Just get your prime meat ready to go. I would recommend getting just a handful of it, probably like 4 or 5. Put it on the dyno, and then put it on the thing you're taming, and then just go. Just leave and go hunt some more, get some more prime meat, deliver it, all that good stuff. Just keep doing that over and over again, and you should be absolutely fine. So, that method is that's prime meat method. If you get bored or whatever, you can, just feed it regular meat and alt tab or do whatever. So I bet you're wondering, what's the benefit of prime meat? Well, prime meat, it has 4 times the effectiveness of a piece of raw meat. So your taming will be 4 times faster if the dino only eats prime meat the whole time. Cooked prime meat, in most cases, is twice as fast. And jerky is a little different. I think prime meat jerky is twice as fast. And just meat jerky, just normal meat jerky, is the same speed. So don't waste your time with the jerkies too much unless you want to get a bunch of prime meat jerky ready to go, so you can just hand it off to something and then just go do whatever you want to do. That's a decent method as well. And to make jerky, this isn't something that a lot of people know about, is you have to get spark powder, oil, and prime meat, cooked prime meat, and put it in a preserving bin. And over about 2 or 3 hours, it'll snap all of them to jerky. So jerky does take a lot of time to actually turn the cooked meat into jerky. It takes a long time for that process to happen. So you just keep that in mind whenever you're taming, is you can do that method. Now, another method that people used to claim was really good was the starvation method, which was really just kind of a placebo thing, is you would just sit there and wait for the dino's food meter to go way down, and only feed it narcotics until its hunger is at the very bottom, and then you just dump a ton of meat onto it, and then bam, it just eats like a motherfucker, and it gets up really high taming. And it's what that would do, people thought, is that it would be faster for some reason. But the thing is that the food decays at the same rate, no matter what. So it doesn't matter if it just ate or if it didn't eat. The hunger decays at the same speed. So all people were doing was just placebo effect of just giving it all the meat at once, as opposed to just giving it, letting it eat whenever it can. So that method really doesn't actually do anything. Don't be fooled by reading that somewhere. It doesn't actually do anything. So don't do that. That's a waste of time. It's just because you're going to lose so much prime meat if you do that. Just don't do it. It's stupid. And then another method people were saying is that there was was that stimulant, I think is what it's called. I think it's called. I actually really want to look this up now, so I'm going to go to right now ARK Gamepedia, and I'm going to go to engrams here just so that I can see what it's called. I believe it's called stimulant. Yeah, stimulant. So what you would do is you would give the dino a lot of stimulant and a lot of narcotics. So you just use stimulant, it just knock its torpor down really low, and then you'd use narcotics and fill it right back up. So you would use a lot of resources here to try and lower the hunger meter faster, because whenever the torpor, I guess when you give it a lot of stimulant, it makes it hungrier, or whenever you give it narcotics, it's hungrier. I don't know how it worked. Pretty much, it doesn't work. So don't get fooled by that method either. It's called the force feed method. Don't do the starvation or the force feed method. They both don't work the way that people think they did. It's just the force feed method is just a waste of resources, and the starvation method is a waste of time. Just do the prime meat method, and that is probably the safest way to go. So, yeah, that's the bit on taming. That's the whole taming section. I don't really have anything else to say about taming. That's pretty much it. Remember, just to recap, use the charts, the tables, or whatever you want to call them, on the ark.gamepedia.com. Look at the taming page, and it'll give you a large table of every dino in the game and what they like. So, with that taken care of, one of the other requested things for me to talk about was the early game, and kind of what levels, what engrams to take at what levels and stuff like that. So I figured, instead of just going and saying these engrams are good at this level, because I don't know the exact amount of engram points you get per level. I don't actually know where to even look that up. I kind of want to just talk about how to work in a tribe if you want to do a certain thing, what you should get to help your tribe. So, without further ado, there are, in this game, they're not categorized, but they kind of are in some ways. There is weaponry, clothing and armor, construction, farming, and I would call it miscellaneous. But those are kind of like your five like categories, I would say, and they all take they're all kind of trees. They're all pretty much trees. And when you get later on in the game, when you get more up to like level 50, level 55, and stuff like that, that's when your engrams, you kind of need almost all of them in order to get some of the later stuff. But if you're looking for just a general rule of thumb, this is kind of the way to do it. So if you're if you're like, let's say you're the clothing and armor guy, you just get all the cloth pants, cloth shirt, cloth gloves, boots, hat, and you keep leveling up at your set intervals. You just level up the clothing and armor. So that way, in your tribe, if you have like 6 or 7 people, you can have one person doing these, one person doing that, one person doing that, so on and so forth. So if you have a very large group of friends, you can just say, okay, well, I'm going to level cloth, or I'm not going to do cloth, rather. I'm going to do clothing and armor so that no one else has to worry about it, and I can make all this stuff for everybody. No one, you can just use your engram points or whatever the hell you want. Of course, there are some mandatory engrams. Excuse me, Jesus. The mandatory ones, I would say, are stone hatchet, spear, probably after that, water skin's really useful, but once you get a couple, it's not really that important. So I'd say stone hatchet, spear. I mean, once you get past those two are really important, and then it's like after that, it's like whatever you really want to do. So keep that in mind in this game. I thought there was going to be a lot more mandatory than that, but keep that in mind whenever you're playing the game. There's a lot of choices for you to make in this game. So don't be afraid to make a decision and just go with it. I mean, you never know when that one thing you get at level 5 or 6 or 7 or whatever ends up being really useful. Oh, there's also saddles. I should have included saddles in there too. There's a ton of saddles in the game, and so yeah. But the path I chose for my guy at first was miscellaneous. Like I was leveling note, wooden sign, blood extraction syringe, which is actually really useful, and I didn't ever use it before, but it's actually pretty useful. Narcotic paintbrush, flag, cooking pot, flare gun, compass, spyglass. Like, I got a bunch of crap, because at the time when I started playing the game, my group of friends was already like level 15, level 20. So they were just like, dude, just level whatever the hell you want. We have people doing construction, we have someone doing clothes, we have someone doing farming. Just do what you want to do. And so I just kind of leveled whatever I wanted to level, and I had a lot of fun that way. So don't ever, I would say in this game, don't ever put, your needs over your fun per se. Like, have fun with the game. I guess if you do need something really badly, get it, but don't be afraid to just be like, okay, I want to make this, and you make it, and you're like, oh, that's pretty cool. Like, I think that's cool. That's a real part of this game. And worst comes to worst, if you get really, really bored, you can just start over as like a level, as a new character, and level everything that you want, that you actually need, as opposed to the garbage. For lack of a better term, that's kind of what I would call it. But, I mean, there's not really any mandatory engrams once you get past the first early levels. It's kind of like if you want to go down the saddle route, get saddles that you're going to need. I would say that, if you owe me a saddle, you don't really need right away. But saddles that are really important to get, I think Raptor Saddle is extremely useful, because if you're new to the game and you don't know where you're going and you don't know where you want to make a base, or you already have a base but you want to move because it's too dangerous, or maybe, I don't know, getting a Raptor Saddle is very useful because Raptors take an hour to an hour and a half to tame. They're super easy. Once you get a Raptor, you can start exploring, you can start branching out, you can start going to different parts of the map, you can start going after crystals and metal and actually getting important stuff. Do note that when you go after metal and crystal, they weigh 1 pound a piece. So that's or a kilogram or whatever. It's 1 weight unit a piece. So that stuff is really heavy. So you're going to need some kind of pack mule. And once you get, if you're the stable master of your group, get the the engrams for the saddles that you're actually going to need. Like, let's say you guys are doing fine in terms of pack mules. You want to get more into travel or more into combat. Level up the combat ones, level up the whatever you need, and try to get that stuff taken care of. Let's see. I guess general tips. I kind of want this to go for like another 5 to 10 minutes. I think 25, 30 minutes is pretty good. So let's see. What other tips do I have? I mean, there's not really a whole lot to say about that. It's just kind of plan things out with your tribe, I guess, and pick engrams that you guys are missing or engrams that you guys really need, and try to work together. When you're playing solo, I suppose I could come back. When you're playing solo, try to I would say if you're on a big server, try to get in touch with somebody and just at the worst thing that at the very least rather. Try to set up some trade agreement with that guy. Try to say to him, hey, I have this, you have that. Do you want to maybe trade some stuff around? I can give you materials. You can make stuff for me. Try to get a neighbor, I should say. If you're playing on an official server, it's kind of hard because people are generally dicks on the official servers. Not so much on private servers, to my knowledge with that. But if just give people a reason to not want to kill you all the time. But on the official servers, that's going to be, the reality regardless. But, if you're playing solo, you're going to need construction. I mean, you're going to need to make a base at some point, right? So, get started with a thatch. You're going to need to make everything yourself. So everything you get when you're playing solo is so much more valuable. Like, every decision you make is so much more final than in a group. Like you need to make every single point that you get matter. And the thing is that there's a lot of very mandatory stuff in the game when you're leveling up if you're playing solo. Like, don't waste your engram points on note, wooden sign. Like, don't waste your points on things that you're potentially not going to use. Like, paintbrush. Don't care. Don't get paintbrush. Don't get flag. Maybe you don't even get standing torch. I have a friend that's the biggest advocate for standing torch I've ever seen. The thing isn't that good, but it's okay. He thinks it's freaking incredible. Whatever. Don't waste your points is kind of what I'm getting at. Don't spend points on things that you don't think you're going to use. When you're playing solo, plan things out. Look ahead. Think about, okay, so later on in the game, I want to be doing this, or I want to be doing that. So right now, I should be leveling up this, or I should be avoiding leveling up that. So on and so forth, so that you can really figure out and plan ahead. It's very important to plan out your levels, because there's no respecking, which is kind of one thing that I kind of want to get back at later, is there needs to be some sort of respecking system. Maybe there is a respec option, I just haven't seen it. I don't think there is, but, I don't know. Also, don't level up things that are just unrealistic for you to be able to get. Like, grenade is a waste of an engram unless you have an abundance of materials. Grenade is so expensive. Don't waste your time getting a grenade. Don't waste your time with a shotgun. A shotgun is so expensive in gunpowder, it's not even worth it. Just go long neck rifle instead. Don't even bother with a shotgun. I wasted 24 engram points on shotgun and shotgun ammo, and I have never made a shotgun, and I have never made a single shotgun shell. It's too expensive. The bottom line is that it takes 3 simple bullets to make 1 shell. Okay, so let me just break this down for you. A simple shotgun ammo takes 3 simple bullets, 1 metal ingot, and 3 gunpowder. So you're thinking, oh, only 3 gunpowder, that's cheap. Well, how much is 1 simple bullet? That's 6 gunpowder to 1 bullet. So for 1 shotgun shell, it's going to take, let me do the math here, 21 gunpowder and 2 metal ingot. Man, I am a little thing in my throat. Anyway, so in other words, it's going to take, to make 21 gunpowder, you need 21 spark powder and 21 charcoal. 21 spark powder, well, that's 2 flint and 1 stone. That's 42 flint, 21 stone to make 1 shell. Alright, that is a crap ton to make 1 thing. It's not worth it. Don't get it unless you have a very, pressing need for a shotgun, which I don't even think, long neck rifle is way better. It's cheaper. I don't know, long neck rifle is my jam. I don't really like the shotgun that much. But, so, like I said, just plan out your engram points, make decisions that are going to be realistic for you to get. And if you're playing solo, it's hard. it's hard to not just say, like, oh, that's so cool, I really want it. But if you have no friends, which, hey, it happens. If you have no friends that play the game, I should say that instead, don't stress out about not having the random fun things. I mean, I play in a tribe of, like, 3 other people, and not all, those people don't get on that much. Whenever I play the game, which lately I haven't really been playing it as much as I'd like. I've been playing a lot of other games, actually. I've been playing Dirty Bomb and GTA 5, that's besides the point. If they're not on, you're going to need to rely on yourself and what you have available to you. So make sure that, well, I did say, have fun, get some random stuff that you think is fun. It's also important to understand and really evaluate the situation that you're in. On a case-by-case basis, this is going to change. If you're playing in a big group, get whatever the hell you want. If you're playing by yourself, you have to really plan things out. If you're playing in a small group, you and your friend can get, one half of the tree, you get the other half of the tree. So on, just figure it out, plan things out. Just never be at a time when you don't know for sure whether you're going to, regret this or not later. Look into it down the line, figure out what that branches out to, what requires this engram. And you should be good. I think I've talked that to death at this point. So, we're sitting at 26 minutes. Not really enough time for me to get into a whole other topic. But, let's see. Okay, so, yeah. Let's take a look at the patch. Because one thing I did is I looked at the patch previously in the first one. So let's take a look at, the patch notes. And see kind of where we're at now. I haven't really played since... I think I haven't played since Tuesday. I want to say Tuesday was the last I played. So we're up to now 185.5. And I think the last episode was in 183 or 184. So we've had quite a number of patches, but not a lot of what's it called? Not a lot of raw content. They just came out with the big stone tier. And what was the big thing that was in 185? 185 came out with the ARK Dev Kit. That was the big thing, too. Yeah. And more server administration tools and stuff like that are actually really nice and really important for server owners. And then 184 was a big bug patch and kind of fix some of the things that was kind of annoying. Which is nice, and added a craft all button. There's stuff like that. But the game really, the devs, I think, are trying, they're right now, I think currently, right now, the devs are trying to churn out the stuff that they have, teased at. So if we take a look at the Dino dossiers, there's, 4 or 5 dossiers that exist that, of things that aren't in the game. So if you don't know about this, check it out on the ark.gamepedia.com. Look at the Dino dossiers and check out. The first thing I want you to check out is the giant beaver. This thing is friggin' awesome. Okay, and from what I understand about the beavers is that they're pretty friendly guys. They're cool dudes. They build dams, and you can tame them and use them to cut down trees. And they're the most efficient tree cutters in the game. They're even more efficient than metal tools. That's really cool to me, that the games eventually get to a point where you can just use dinosaurs for everything. Who needs tools? Who needs weapons when you have dinos? That's awesome to me. Anyway, that is it for this episode of ARK Reddit Podcast. Hope you guys enjoyed. I shared some of my insight and some of, the experiences I've had with the game so far. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys in the next episode. If you like this, please feel free to drop a like on if you're watching it on YouTube, drop a like, subscribe, and I'll be putting out more content. I think I'm actually going to do another podcast that'll be more just general gaming and stuff like that instead of just focusing on ARK. And I'll, maybe this podcast will merge with that one. I'm not too sure. Just depends what you guys want to hear, because I like talking about games and I have a lot to say, and I play a lot of different games, so I really do have a lot to say. And so. Like I said, drop a like, favorite the video, or I don't know if anyone does that anymore, but subscribe. I'll have links in the description of the video that are useful like to the Gamepedia at the very least, will be in the description of the YouTube video. If you're on SoundCloud, I don't even know what the heck you do on SoundCloud. Press the heart, I think there's a heart button. I don't know. And on Reddit, just drop a comment, talk to me, guys. I mean, I'll have the Reddit post linked on the YouTube channel, so you guys can check out the post. Please let me know if there's any feedback you have. I'll interact with you guys very much and let you guys know, any changes that are coming in the next episode or whatever. Just give me ideas as well. Like, I love hearing you guys' feedback, and I respond to, every comment. So, thank you guys for listening.